Morgan, and welcome to a very cold and very wet October in Northern England and part 4 of the restoration of Melvin, my beloved and now very rusty Rover Metro that I've owned since I was 17. Now, in the previous 3 parts, we've taken a long time to do very little, and today I'm planning absolutely nothing different. You can kind of see what we've done so far. We've taken the bumpers off, we've taken the front wings off, we've taken the rear lights off, we've taken out almost the entirety of the interior, including the dashboard. And today, I want to get the glass out, I want to get the headlining out, so we can see what the rust situation is like in the gutters. Then I would like to start to try attacking the electrical system and get essentially the rear end of the car stripped totally down, barring the mechanical components. Before all that, however, I want to take the radiator out, and that's because I've sold this to a friend. Now, Metro radiators do not grow on trees, and so I am taking a perfectly good working radiator that is virtually unobtainable and selling it. But that's because I want to have a custom all-alloy one with proper metal end tanks made for when I get Melvin back on the road, in however many years' time that is. Now, fortuitously, this is actually a replacement radiator. Those of you who've been around for like 4 or 5 years will remember that I changed this radiator, or I had it changed, should I say, and fortuitously I kept the original. And that means that I can use that one as a pattern when I eventually get round to getting Melvin back on the road. So, to get a little bit of money back, I am selling this to a friend who really needs it. But you'll notice that while we're in the engine bay, some things have changed. Now, first of the things you can't see, I've drained the oil and I've also drained the coolant. I just thought I'd do those things off camera because they're not very video friendly and it's easy. But also the air cleaner is gone. I don't know why I took that off, but I did. And of course, there's no real point in putting it back on now. And I also took the battery out. Now, with the battery, I was looking to see whether I should relocate it before I realized that was a stupid idea, but now it's gone. I've also removed the ignition coil, which sits just behind this headlamp here, because it's the only way I could figure out to get to the radiator bottom hose. But anyway, let's get the rad out. Okay, there isn't really very much room between the exhaust manifold and the radiator, and this being a K-series car, the scuttle panel is fixed. This doesn't come off, so we've got to kind of angle the radiator between the two. Fortunately, both the radiator hoses are really easily accessible. So this one is the top hose and that one there, going to that hose clip there, is the bottom hose. Now this goes round the back of the engine to where you now can't see. Because if I re-angle the camera, the thermostat is under the inlet manifold there. So out the bottom of the radiator, the coolant goes around the back to the thermostat and then it goes into the water pump, which is obviously on the timing end of the engine. That means that the thermostat is after the radiator, so it only opens very late. So if you've got a K-series car, I would recommend installing an 82-degree thermostat. Now, early cars from the factory, like this one, did have 82-degree thermostats, but they later went up to 88 to increase efficiency. Now, I don't think that's a very good move, and this kind of design is part of the reason why K-series engines like to overheat and like to pop head gaskets, because that thermostat is very late to open, and when it does open, there's a rush of very cold coolant going all the way through the engine, which has been nicely heated. So 82-degree thermostats and drive safely, responsibly, etc. until the car is properly warmed up. I should have put a bucket down. Oh no! Oh, for God's sake. I drained this weeks ago and didn't think it would be an issue. Drip tray engaged. There you go, so there's all that coolant. And finally, up here is the expansion tank, and here is a little overflow pipe that goes into the top radiator hose. There's a big pipe that goes across the top of the radiator to this side, which is where the inlet actually is. I should just be using a socket, but I like to make my life difficult. So those out the way, there are some connectors down here for the radiator fan. And another one you can't see to actually power the radiator fan. So now I'm hoping that just these 8mm bolts need to be undone, and then we can swing the radiator back and pull it out the top. We might have to take the fan off, so we will see. I'm already thinking that when all this goes back together, in however many thousand years, I'm going to put the radiator in before the engine. I think in order to clear the exhaust manifold, this top pipe is going to have to come off at least, if not the fan as well. Okay, and the bonnet catch as well. Oh, you're kidding me. Now the coolant outlet elbow is fouling on the fan. Oh, there you go. And it's free. That is an unnecessarily stupid design because the A-series Metros have a removable slam panel. And they have that removable slam panel because the distributor is down at the front of the engine. So to do points and to do distributor cap and leads and stuff, you kind of need to remove the slam panel. But why not carry it over to these? Why not just have it unbolt? That'd be so much easier. So that is the radiator out, and that will go and live on in another car before I get a proper one with metal end tanks and stuff. And what this means is that you can see into the engine bay, including the starter motor, which I'm not sure you're going to be able to see, but I can see at least. The sticker on the top says it was manufactured in the 25th week of 1991. So with the appetizer out of the way, I'm going to do something I said I wasn't going to do in the previous video, and you're all going to shout at me for it. But before you do shout at me, I'm going to destroy all these rubber seals because I don't need them. So this rear window seal is knackered. It's cracked in 3 or 4 corners and you can get reproductions, so why should I bother? The front is fine, but again, you can get reproductions, so why have the faff? For these side windows, I don't need these seals because I'm installing pop-out rear quarter lights, so they're superfluous. Also, they're not in the best condition, and again, you can get reproductions, so let's get destructive. I can't say I've ever deglazed a car before, so, oh, actually, no, just thinking cap on. Heated rear window, it would really help if I, thought before I did. There you go, that's better. I'll keep that hanging out. As I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by my own ineptitude, I've never taken any glass out of a car before, so go gentle on me. Well, here it comes, and I should also say that... Oh, this is going to shatter, isn't it? I'm going to do some more cutting first. As I was saying, this seal actually had paint on it because whichever muppet decided to respray the car before I bought it decided that it wasn't worth taking the windows out, which, when I come to power, means death penalty. Oh, there you go. Behold the glassless car. Now, besides one little spot of rust on the near side edge, that frame is absolutely perfect. This is the one that I will be dropping. I don't know what all this stuff that's coming out with it is. It looks like what plastic carrier bags turn into when you leave them in a loft for 30 years. Although, to be fair, this could very much just be the rubber doing that. Brute force always wins. And I didn't drop it. Fantastic. Squeeze. I'm not going to be able to fit through there. And that's not just because I'm fat. The brakes are dragging a bit. Oh, you're coming with me, Seal. While I put my gloves on, before we take the windscreen out, we are going to have to remove the wiper arms, because of course they sit on the windscreen. And you'll notice that around the wipers there are extra bungs. So these are the two washers, and then here are the two blanks for left-hand drive wipers. Now I've taken the bungs out and stored them away, but on A-series Metros they don't have in-bonnet washers. Instead they have a single washer that sits here with two jets in it, that then sprays essentially onto the bottom of this wiper. It doesn't do a very good job, but it is neater. And because I'm a bit of a freak for cleanliness, when the car goes to get welded, I'm going to get them to weld up these two holes, and I'm going to get them to weld up that hole as well. Then I will buy an A-series Metro washer jet, should I say, to put there, and it will be cleaner and neater. And all of about 2 people in the world will notice, but I will be one of them, and therefore, you know. Why did I go for a 14? Nothing's a 14 on a Metro. Everything's 13. Will these come off? I don't know. Oh, well, they're very, very loose. Now, I don't have a puller, so we're going to do our best to try and get these off. There you go. That's off. There you go. I suppose you don't want them to be tight because then they might not move. There you go. Now to the main attraction, and you'll notice on the near side that I have a replica tax disc holder, although that's not really a replica tax disc holder, because it just says Austin Rover on it, but not very many companies make replica tax disc holders in that style, that kind of tall style with the writing on the top. But I would like to find a company that does. So if anyone knows of a company that will make you custom replica tax disc holders like that, then let me know, because when the car goes back on the road, eventually in 1,000 years, I will absolutely be wanting one of those with the original dealer stuff in it rather than saying Austin Rover. What is a reproduction I've got, however, you'll notice is the Rover service sticker in the top corner. And I think they're sold by Smithy's Bits, who do mini stuff. And I've got loads of them sat in a cupboard somewhere because I love that kind of stuff, because I'm a weirdo. And yes, written on the other side, it does have the actual service information for the last time I serviced this car, which is due next on the 26th of January 2023. which was some time ago now, of course, but that's how long the car's been off the road for. God, this is just coming off. Fantastic. I think we're going to stop there because I might be able to get this out. Oh, seal. I don't want it falling in on itself. Oh, I should have taken the rear view mirror off. Give me a second. There you go. That just slides off. I think that's the same part number as an MPI Mini, because older Minis have ones with a silly suction cup that just rattles all the time. Oh, also, if anyone wants this windscreen, let me know, because it's a replacement one. So it doesn't say XXX in it, it's Pilkington instead, which I believe is the same company now. It might have even been the same company at the time, but yeah, I've got an original date correct windscreen for Melvin, so if you want this one, then let me know. That is one deglazed Metro, and that did not take me anywhere near as long as I thought it would. That was relatively easy. I suppose anything's easy if you use a knife and brute force. So the final job is the sunroof, if I can figure out how to get the glass out, which I have done before, but I'm a massive tart, and this is an aftermarket sunroof, and that means that getting parts for it are like unicorn tears, if I can try and be dignified for once in my life. Yeah, the parts for it are unicorn tears, and this headlining is wrecked, partly because I've ripped it in that corner to see how the tailgate mounts, but anyway, I could do that because it's ripped here around the sunroof, and it's creased, and there's a little bit of water damage as well, which is not great. But yeah, it's an aftermarket sunroof, which means it does not have the drains, the kind of frame that sits on a factory one. And I like my sunroofs, so I found a new roof skin. A roof skin from a car that's been scrapped, that's been taken off, because it was a perfect roof that has the correct frame in it, and they also stripped from the car at the same time all the fixings, the seals, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, after me saying that it might involve a bit more work to take the scuttle panel off, I want to take the roof off. I'm such a muppet. I am such a muppet. And it does. Success. BMW toolkit screwdriver is best screwdriver. Someone, I still don't know who, many years ago, took some Polaroids of Melvin at a car show and then put them under my wiper. So they've been there ever since. I still don't know who that was. I did have an inkling who it was, but I don't think it was her. There you go, 4 little tabs. And there we go. And just under there, that is the screw to take the aerial off. So we'll do that as well. Oh, I've dropped something. God's sake. Anyway, next job, I think, is the headlining. Hello there. Now, I'm not afraid of cutting this. Again, as I said, it's knackered. I'll be getting a new headlining. It is a bit of a shame, though, because these vinyl headlinings are not available anymore. You can get, what are they called? You can get the fabric ones, the velour ones, but you can't get these vinyl ones. But I don't really have a choice. It's broken anyway, so, and also it doesn't fit around the factory sunroof. Now, we have these little plastic clips that go around the windows and around the doors. So if those come off, I think we should be golden. Certainly on the sides at least, because at the back I think it's all just stuck on. In fact, no, is there a thing? Let me get out and see. There is one of these plastic clips. we might just be able to pull this now. Oh no, of course. God, of course we have. We've got the rods that hold it in. So they'll come out with it, but that's okay. Fortunately, so far, it all looks pretty rust-free. Not that I'm keeping the roof. This is going to be an absolute mess from a video perspective, and I've just thought actually, oh, shine a light. Well, I've cracked that, so we need a new one of those. How do these come off? Oh, there you go, they are clipped in. There are these trim rails that go up the side, and this one is now slightly broken. I've unintentionally made myself a fort. I'm practically wearing a Metro headlining. These sun visor clips. I thought they'd just come out with the headlining, but clearly not. Let's do some reading. Oh my God. There are screws apparently, which I think I disagree with, but let's see. Oh no, there they are. I'd be dangerous if I had eyes. Behold the knackered Metro headlining that's quite frankly fit for the bin. Well, that doesn't look too bad at all. I mean, of course, the sunroof is here, and frankly, it means it doesn't all matter, but hey, here we are. Rails and stuff look absolutely fine. There's a little bit of surface corrosion just above the windows, but nothing structural. I'm quite happy, not that it matters. Now we'll get this sunroof frame out. 16,999 screws, and that one in that corner is stripped fantastically. So it kind of wants to come off, but of course I'm not keeping it. However, it is metal, so I don't think I can just snap it. Let's have a go with the hand screwdriver. Oh yeah, there you go. The person who did this in the first place at the Rover dealer, I imagine, I think it's a dealer fit extra. Aftermarket though the sunroof is. Yeah, that was poorly done anyway. And may I, shut up, may I also just say what a fantastically designed car this is. Yeah. See if we can get this seal out as well. And there's a frame. No, I think the frame actually is, yeah, it's sealed into the roof, obviously, because it would just let loads of water through if not. So with this as it is, I'm going to leave the sunroof. And we'll try and get that tailgate off. So this is going to be the scary bit, isn't it? Getting the tailgate off. I think I'm going to do it with it closed, but first, of course, we need to get the wiring out of the way. And in here, there's no central locking or anything, so it's nice and simple, but we have number plate lights. So with that out of the way, oh, there is this big... I don't know what that's for. We're going to have to cut that to get the wires out. I assume that's there to stop the wires rattling. Getting all that back in is going to be absolutely disgusting. What's really also deeply annoying is, of course, because of the bellows and the grommets and stuff like that, I'm going to have to de-pin all of this. Oh well, needs must. Now, I'm thinking the best way to do this might be to close it. I've already disconnected the struts there so that they can just pop off whenever they're needed to pop off. I think the best way to do it might be to remove the bolts at the top, then I can click it, open. In fact, no, I think I'll take the struts off now. Right, here's to hoping this all doesn't end in disaster. Okay, this is scary. There is now nothing holding this boot lid on apart from the lock. Oh, there goes one of the captive nut plates. Hey, there you go. Fantastic, good stuff. But this top edge here, which you can see is a little bit rusty when the boot's open, that's not so bad. Certainly not as bad as many of them are, so I'm pleased, I'm happy. Do you like my bed sheets? I sincerely hope you do. They're as old as me, so they are now considered retro. Just about. So this is all going to be upside down, but I thought we would actually disassemble all the inside of this stuff before we move on, because why not? Let's be nerdy about it. So this is the cable that I pulled at the very start of the video to open the tailgate. The lock is in there, and obviously the latch is up here. So first thing we need to do is figure out how this comes out. I have done this before, but it was a while ago, so bear with me. So that's the cable, and now I think there's just a clip. Let me get a screwdriver. There you go, there's this M-shaped clip that sits over the lock to retain it in place. Oh well, I didn't quite catch that, I don't think. But there you go, that's just popped out. I'm assuming that with this latch will come out the cable. Now, our final trick, again 8mm, is to get rid of the plinth. Now, I have a new one of these. I bought it ages ago because it's a little bit scruffy, this original one, but I didn't fit it once I realised the car would be stripped down. Ta-da! So now all I need to do is get rid of the badges, get rid of the number plate, and a few other little fixings that sit throughout it. But I'll do that off camera because, I mean, this video couldn't get much more boring, but that is decidedly boring. Now, I suppose that would be much easier if the brakes weren't dragging, but I said at the start of the video that we were going to try and tackle the rear wiring loom at the end of this video, but I don't feel like doing it because on this side, because of all this kind of stuff and the bellows, this is all going to have to be depinned, and I don't want to do that today. I've done the other side because it doesn't need depinning. It can just be routed through because there's only one plug, so that's dead easy. So that side's done, but I'm going to leave this for another time because Yeah, not fancying it. But we're not going to end there, because there are a few more things that I would like to try and do, electrical wise still, but I think to get them a bit easier, let's take the bonnet off. While we're here, there's just no reason why not. Let's get on with it, hey? Of course, I don't have to worry about paint. Unlike with Melody. There is a point while doing a project car where it turns from, way, fantastic project car, into, this is quite real now. That's a bit scary, isn't it? We will come back to the front in a second though, but before we do, I want to get these wires from the light out of the roof. Now I'll label them up in a minute, but for now, just to stop them catching, I'm going to shove them into the roof cavity. With everything in here routing back to the fuse box, we might as well remove that as well. And this is one of the few areas of the K-Series Metro's electrical system. In fact, I think it's the only place that can be a little bit iffy. So there you go, that's the fuse box out, and of course you've got all the relays on the front here, but on the back there are blank spaces here, and they're labelled front wash wipe and rear wash wipe. Now of course, rear wash wipe I don't need, not applicable. Front wash wipe, that is for the intermittent setting. So when the car goes back together, we're putting a relay in there and running a couple of wires to give myself intermittent wipers. Now, if you're worried about me messing any of this up, every single connector is slightly different and they're all labelled with the colours of the plugs that go on them and the types, so I won't get any of this stuff mixed up. So now it's really just a case of figuring out where all this stuff goes. So most of the body stuff I've kind of disconnected already. Certainly a lot of the stuff will now just feed back through. All this purple stuff, for example, is for the interior light. This down here, wherever that goes into, is... in fact, that's for the light as well. That goes for the switch in the door. While we're here, however, there is also the fuse box bracket. It looks like Gustavo Fring, bless him. There isn't really much left, is there? What a sorry looking sight. As I said a minute ago, this is kind of where it feels real now, that something is happening that isn't just easily replaceable and let's go out on the road. Not that I could have done anyway, of course, but I think we're going to end there because really in the next video, I want to get the engine out. I thought that that's the best way to do it rather than start tackling the dash and therefore the heater system, which is easier done with better access over there. Let's do the big stuff, get the engine out of the way in the next episode, whenever that may be, and then we can start doing the more niggly little bits before it's subframers out time, and then I don't really have much left to do until I can afford to get the car painted. So yeah, scary, expensive, scarily expensive, but there we are. I hope you enjoyed this quite slow-paced, very kind of relaxed look at restoring a little car like this. If you did enjoy the video, of course, please do click like and subscribe to TwinCam. We are back now for good. We are having proper videos every week rather than every few months, as it has been for most of this year. So thank you to everyone so much, and thank you to all my Patreon supporters. I'm dragging this out a little bit because if you stayed this long into a video like this, then you might be interested. So if you would like to support me that way, then please do follow the link in the description to my Patreon. I don't know why all my Patreon supporters stuck around for all those months when there weren't many videos coming, but absolute saints, a lot of you. So thank you very much. And of course, I shall have more videos coming along soon. Probably not on this little car for a while though.